I'm going to call to order the meeting of the Board of Elections for Monday, November 24th, 2025 at 10 a.m. I've had coffee. Roll call, please.
Good morning. Chair Innamorato.
Present.
Member Hollow.
Here.
Member Kirk.
Here.
Wonderful. Moving to public comment, we have 3 folks who have signed up for public comment. And first up, we have Councilwoman Suzanne Filiaggi.
Thanks. Thank you very much.
Hello.
Hello, Suzanne Filiaggi, 1504 King Charles Drive, 15237. And so I am here as a resident, actually, though, as also the Republican Caucus of 1 on Allegheny County Council. And first, I would like to express my gratitude for the Board of Elections and its members and their part in election integrity, and state that this institution is part of keeping democracy intact. I today would like to say that I'm a little intimidated being on this end and not sitting on the dais, because I'm sitting at 3 people. I mean, I'm sitting in front of 3 people, and I feel like I'm going to my mother to get my curfew extended. So I am nervous, but thank you very much for allowing me to speak. Because today I come here to speak, or at least bring about attention to minority party representation on the Board of Elections, now and in the future. And because I think that here presenting today, once the next Board of Elections representative would come on, we have a possibility of seeing 4 scenarios that 3 could result in the necessity to appoint a new minority member of the Board of Elections. And I'm just here to kind of give notice or bring attention to that fact, and that the Republican Party, which is one of the acknowledged major parties in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, that we will be submitting names eventually for consideration to sit on the Board of Elections. And loosely, the 4 scenarios that have been envisioned are, 1, that the Labor Party, which presumably, if the elections are certified, the Labor Party representative would, okay, going back. 4 scenarios that are going to happen, that could happen. The Labor Party representative declares themselves a candidate in 26 or 27, so they can't sit on the Board of Elections. The Labor Party representative switches to Democrat, and they can't sit on the Board of Elections. 3, the Labor Party reverts to a body because it did not meet the voter percentage requirements, I should put on my glasses, in the 26 election, and a body cannot sit on the Board of Elections. Or 4, the Labor Party representative doesn't change, doesn't run, and the Labor Party stays a party and doesn't revert to a body. If 4 exists, the Labor Party representative gets to stay. If 1, 2, or 3 scenario rolls out, they can't sit, or at the very least, the Republican Party should be able to submit names. Historically, the goal of the Board of Elections, and we can also admit that the 4th scenario is the probability of the 4th scenario is pretty low because of the way voting goes in Allegheny County in Pennsylvania. Historically, the goal of the Board of Elections has been to have, and I'm asking for a point of order for another minute. And I'm sure that as Ms. Hallam, we always give people extra time. You can give me a minute.
Sure, we will give you another minute, and we will also take your remarks and submit them for the record and consideration, too, in writing.
And I know you will. I appreciate that. Historically, the goal of the Board of Elections has been to have representation from the major parties to ensure balanced oversight of the election process. 88 years there's always been representation of major parties, and that's been the Democrats and the Republicans. While some may laud what is going to eventually happen here with the Labor Party as a funny comeuppance of sorts for the MAGA crowd, it has serious implications, as it may cause some of the residents of Allegheny County to question our election process and even become disenfranchised. Not a result that I, as an elected member of Allegheny County, the legislative body, wish to see. I urge the Board of Elections, current members, and support staff to consider these inevitable consequences and prepare early to address the issue and ultimately engage in an open and transparent discussion with the Republican Party, because like it or not, we are the established major party in Pennsylvania, about this issue so as to avoid unnecessary litigation and voter agitation. Because we can all agree that this is not an outcome in support of democracy. And I'm just going to end by saying power, which the Democratic Party clearly has at this moment in Allegheny County, and I applaud that. That is hard work. Power influences outcomes as it can appear here, but character influences institutions, and I'm asking to focus on the character of this institution. Thank you for the time.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Next up, we have Andrew Shepler.
Thank you for hearing me, and thank you for your work in our elections, integrity of our voting, and all that. I am a resident of the city of Pittsburgh since 2006. I'm here today to speak in favor of a hand recount of votes for President of the United States in the 2024 general election. Some statisticians, hobbyists, and professional have noticed concerning patterns in the data for a number of places, including Pennsylvania, Minnesota, North Carolina. But some of the strongest patterns seen are in Pennsylvania, especially the counties Allegheny and Philadelphia and Erie. And yeah, the Election Truth Alliance is a public concerned organization that has made good summaries of all of this. And Dr. Mabane of the University of Michigan is a professional election forensics analyst and has done a few analyses of the whole state of Pennsylvania. And the analyses suggest the possibility of manipulation of voter counts. It's seen in the election day data only, not the mail-in or early voting, and that suggests an issue with the vote counting machines. And the estimates of those analyses are around 100,000 votes in the state of Pennsylvania or more. So this is concerning. The statistics don't prove anything, but it's a big cause for concern. And we know fairness, transparency, and accuracy is supremely important to our American democracy. I'm proud to say our country has historically done very well in that area. And if there is an issue here, we need to know about it. If there's an issue, we need to prevent it from happening again. If there is not an issue, if there's a recount and we find it matches, that is great. I'm happy. And we can maintain our confidence in the system. So I'm urging the board to consider a recount of those votes president for 2024. The data doesn't prove anything, and with this pattern seen, some actual proof would come in first in the form of such a recount.
Thank you.
Beep, beep. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Next up, Juliet Zabon.
So, good morning. I come to you with an observation and a question. I've done election protection and voter protection work for many years, and that has me at polling places all over the county on election day all day long. This past election, as with several others over the years, I've encountered a polling place whose door was locked when the poll workers arrived in the morning. They couldn't get in to set up the polls. Of course, they called the election division, but everyone with a problem is calling the election division at 6 a.m., so you have to leave a message and wait. The locked doors in this particular case, well, they always mean a polling place is going to open late, sometimes quite a bit later. The polling place with this problem on November 4th was the First United Presbyterian Church of Crafton Heights, that's 28-05. The poll workers only got into the building around 7 a.m. when contractors arrived who had the key. So my question is how this problem can be addressed to improve elections overall. For instance, could a telephone number for a building manager be included in the materials that the judge of election picks up? Or are there other ways to give poll workers more resources to use when they're in this predicament? I've been in it myself when I first came to Pittsburgh and was a poll worker, and it's just this huge anxiety. And I get it, there are thousands of polling places, and it's real busy on election day. But if there's a way to kind of empower a judge of election to do something a little bit more, if they had that number on Saturday when they pick up their release, they could even call the manager right then and just say, just want to confirm we're on track for Tuesday morning. Stuff happens, people get sick, they go to the hospital, all kinds of stuff happens, but being able to just distribute that responsibility and empower people a little bit, if it meant that, 2 or 3 polling places were able to open on time that otherwise couldn't, it would just be a huge, though incremental improvement. So thank you for putting on your thinking caps about it. It's just one of those details, but it's something I've seen with some regularity over the years. So I lay it at your feet. Thank you for considering it.
And now we're moving to the approval of the minutes from the October 21st meeting. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we approve the minutes. And then moving on to the November 4th, 2025 municipal election certification.
Good morning. I think the 25 general overall was a success. I think the most glaringly was a voter turnout at 45%. Looking back at the last 3 like municipal elections, the highest turnout was 32% in 2021. We do have a series of some close races. I believe we have four races throughout the county that are within 4 votes, and we actually have 1 tie for a commissioner in Eastier Township. I guess if those candidates wanted to file for some type of a contest or recount, they would have until end of business today. We have all of the school board write-in winners. Everything is tallied and mailed out to them. They have to claim their offices earlier because school board members, their reorganization is the first week of December. And approximately 69 municipal write-in winners. Now, this does not include the judge and inspectors of elections. As you can imagine, with 1,327 precincts and maybe only 300 board candidates, 1 write-in vote can potentially be a winner in all these races. So we have a lot of precincts where there may be 10 write-in votes for 10 different people. So you could, if they all claimed it, that's the math we're looking at. But besides that, I'm here. I have any questions? We're here to answer. If you want to talk about mail and ballot finals, I have those numbers as well.
Member Hallam?
I have a question. That scenario that you just presented, so 10 people each get 1 write-in vote, that's the most votes that was received by any one person. Let's say they all claim it, or 5 of them claim it. What is the process?
It's a casting of lots.
It is? Okay.
It's basically a flip of a coin.
It's like a tie?
Yeah,
Okay.
it would be a tie. Each candidate would be could draw one number from a wooden or wooden pellet from a leather bottle. Whoever received the highest number would be declared the winner.
Okay. And then I guess my only other question would be if you had to point out anything that you think didn't go well that we could maybe work to fix in future elections that happened this time, what would you say that was?
I think everything went well. I mean, we dealt with a new hauler this election. It was their first time doing the whole county, so there were some delays in machines going out and coming back. But overall, we worked everything out.
All right, I'll let you get away with that one. Thank you very much.
Member Kirk.
Oh, I had mine on. I just wanted to say, I have total confidence in how the elections have been run from everything I've observed in my time on the board. It seems like everyone works really hard, and yeah, building might not open, but that's great. I like when people come and actually have suggestions how to correct it too. That's very appreciated in my land. But like I said, the first time I was on the board, I came very skeptical, and I did go to the warehouse and did everything, and I'm very pleased at that point. But the one thing I'm a little confused on is the first speaker. I'm a little confused how is that something we need to deal with now? I guess if I understand it right, it's a party versus a person versus a body. Do we have to deal with that prior to this? Does that make any difference now, or how's that dealt with?
What do you think?
It's a sort of condition antecedent, right? So at this point, the at-large member has not been certified today and then sworn in, so it would be an issue for future board convening. So it's not a today thing, in short. He's a member of a political body, and the way that the statutes are written, could sit, and will contend with whatever may come this way.
So it won't make any difference. We can certify and move forward with
Right.
that.
Right, because we'll be certifying that gentleman.
Super.
And so it just hasn't happened yet.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Kirk. I will only say I'm just really impressed with the voters of Allegheny County for showing up for a municipal election year. Normally, like we heard, 32% was the all-time high, and we're at a 45% voter turnout for this last municipal election. So, I think that tells us as an elections department and a board that, we used to kind of get the scale back a little bit in odd number years, but it seems like with increased interest in participating in our democracy that, we'll continue to, build up the infrastructure and run it, every year, twice a year. I don't know if there's any comments that the elections team wants to make, just given the kind of historic turnout for this municipal election and kind of how we're thinking about future odd-numbered year elections.
Yes, thank you. And kind of on that topic, as you know, the board approved our plan previously for the satellites and the ballot return sites. So we had cut back our hours at those satellites, and in doing so, our numbers actually went up. So in the primary election, 542 people had taken advantage of the satellites, and that was with an 8-hour workday. And then for the general election, 1,403 people took advantage of the satellites, and that was in a 4-hour workday. So again, thank you for approving, the hours that we conducted. And then our ballot return sites, those stayed consistent, and I think staying the course there really paid off as well. In the primary, overall, we had 2,906 people had dropped the ballots off at those ballot return sites. And then now for the general election, 5,675 people took advantage of the ballot return sites. And on some of those locations, they did more in one day than they had done previously in the primary. So I think people are that's now becoming part of their day, and they're using that, and they're getting accustomed to it in those areas. So thank you.
And then one more question, you may not have the answer to this, I wouldn't necessarily expect you to, but with the recent passage of the state budget, was there any increase or impact on dollars coming to Allegheny County for election administration, or is it kind of status quo?
I am not aware of any, but that is something I can look into for the board.
Okay, yeah, whenever you get a chance, if you could let us know that. Okay, Member Hallam is going to ask
I
another
do
question.
have a question that I forgot somebody had asked me to ask. I know that there are situations where a candidate is often running for a 4-year term and a 2-year term, like in the local offices. I'm thinking particularly of a school board race. If a person wins both seats, is it possible that they can delegate the 2-year term to the highest write-in vote winner? Or how does that work? Is the only process through a replacement by the body?
So we would certify that candidate as a winner of both seats.
Okay.
Now, at their reorganization meeting, I guess they would say, I want to be sworn into the 4-year term, and then a vacancy would be declared for the other. Now, how that board determines who they're going to appoint, I mean...
It's not an elections
right.
department thing.
We don't have any control over that.
Thank you. That's exactly what I was wondering. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Great, thank you, members. Is there any new business before the board?
I do not.
Okay, great. Do we have to vote to certify? Okay, it's not on the agenda. Wonderful, okay. Oh, right. All right, do I have a motion to certify the November 4th, 2025 municipal elections?
So moved.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great.
Thank you.
I already asked about new business. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All right, we are adjourned.
Can we, this is likely maybe